Hey family, it's me, Mr. Perry P, and you're all in the place to be. Man, I just got pulled over by the cop, an Avondale police officer, and and uh and it was crazy. It was like unlike anything else I've experienced in quite some time, uh, actually ever. Yeah, but let me provide some context. So long story short, I'm in my neighborhood and they're over here, and um, yeah, and it's crazy because I, everybody at my house, they for the most part left for some morning brunch or breakfast or whatever with my mother-in-law, so that was pretty legit. And then next thing you know, I was like, well, I got some quiet time before my sister's b-day party. So let's go ahead and get some work done. And I was like, man, it is a beautiful day outside. Shouts out to the zone. It's a beautiful day outside. So let me just go outside. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna just go on the porch. Let me go to the park. I was like, well, instead of me going to the park, let me go to my little spot. I don't know if I can turn the camera around. I don't think so. But but yeah. But nevertheless, it's pretty much a little spot in the neighborhood, sitting on the side. And I told myself, well, and there's a fire hydrant up here, so like, well, if I make sure, let me back up from the fire hydrant so I'm far enough away, back up from the stop sign far enough away. I park my in my van, I'm parking my van. So and then I'm looking forward, and I get to see like beautiful trees, beautiful grass, beautiful sky. And I went over here one time. Oh, back in the day, it was once before, but recently was earlier this week, and it was beautiful. I mean, I saw like as the moon was going up, and I felt the sun was setting. It's a dope scenery. God's grace, God's grace to be able to, live in this nice area and to see this nice view. And man, it's all God's grace. But then I'm like, all right, well, let me just sit over here. I'm gonna do some reading. I got my first time reading this. It's the God Ass book by Steve Shadrach. And then I'm rereading Millionaire Success Habits by my man Dean Grzowski, and then as well as High Performance Habits by Brandon Burchard. I have like literally all of Brandon Burchard's books. But but yeah, both of those last two great reads. I'm just rereading both of those. And this is real because like I don't even got my I don't have my Cowboys hat on, or like I was ran out the house and left my glasses, and I was like, man, whatever. But I'm like, it's all good. Like I'm about to get some quiet time, get some reading time, and then get some work done. God's grace, get some work done, make the dream become a reality. And then I was sitting over here, I'm doing my reading on my the God Ass book, and then next thing you know, I see this SUV cop, go by. I was like, okay, that's not too abnormal. It's in my neighborhood. So, but then next thing you know, the Joker turns on the street. I was like, okay, okay. And then right behind me, there's a spot where it's like a little mini cul-de-sac where you can do a U-turn. The Joker did a U-turn. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And the Joker, pulled up behind me. He didn't put the flashes on, didn't put the sirens on, nothing like that. Maybe it's because it's obvious that he's pulling me over. And I'm literally like just sitting in my whip, sitting on the side of the road, and I'm like, oh, here we go, man. Like, and because it's crazy because from what we see in the media, and honestly, what a lot of people that look like me have experienced, unfortunately, these interactions don't go well. Like, you could be, whether you're doing something you're supposed to be doing or doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, you know, when it comes to people with more melanin in them, the cops aren't people that are, partners in the community. It's something much worse than that. I'm just being real, and obviously, as we know, not all, and I actually want to get to that in a second, so let me put a pin in that one. But it's crazy because he pulls me over and he gets out of his car, and I say, hey Siri, call Catrice. That's my wife. And because I'm like, I need to have some sort of video or audio or something. 'Cause I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm hoping for the best, praying for the best, but it's just sad because these things can get dark fast, you know. And and I'm sitting there thinking, it's crazy. Like, I don't know if all you guys have, that have gotten pulled over before, have just forwardly think about, man, you're thinking more about your wife, your kids, your dreams, goals, and that, like kind of like a mini life before your eyes type of thing, versus, oh, I need to get out my license registration. You know what I'm saying? So then he comes out, and then, to my surprise, like, that Joker was super cool. Like, he's like super cool cat. Like, he was a white dude. He said he was mixed with I forget. He said his last name was like Magowski or something like that. Magowski. He had some dope Oakland sunglasses. I told him that, but it was like the best. Like hear me good. It was the best interaction that I've had with someone of the law in my entire life. And let me be mindful, like, I'm not on some troublemaker type stuff or nothing like that, but it's just, which tells you something. And my wife can tell you, man, like, there's been some craziness for no reason, and it's like, it was just a breath of fresh air. I mean, we sitting here and we were just chatting. I'm like, is this how white people feel? Like, whenever someone of the law comes up to you and it's like a more of a companion in the community, a person of a partnership, if you will, in the community, versus something else, something much worse. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, they don't know how good they got it, because this Joker was like, he was super cool. He's like, yeah, so we got a call about people just trying to check on, see what's going on with your vehicle. It's been parked out here a couple times. I told him, like, well, this is my first time doing it. And then, other than earlier this week, I did it earlier before. But I was like, man, I got a bunch of kids at the house, a bunch of people at the house. I'm just trying to, like, get some alone time, some quiet time, some reading time, some work done time. And it's a beautiful day. And it's like, and we just had this, we ended up talking for like 20 minutes, I think it was, like 15, 20 minutes. About 15, 20 minutes. And it's like, and it was just refreshing. And yeah, I can take it in the negative. I'm like, cause like, it's crazy how, cause we're talking about the Lord, and we're talking about how good God is, how much grace he has. I was talking about my marriage podcast, and cause he's married, and kids, and I'm like, man, like, I would love to have someone like you on the podcast, because usually when you see these marriage podcasts and marriage experts, they all have just one type of person that they're interviewing. And for me, I was like, no, I want, white, black, Hispanic, young, old, newlyweds, OGs in the game, people who've been divorced, like, and thinking about divorce, like, all that stuff. I want to truly, I was telling you, I just want to truly add value to the marketplace. And, oh man, so, anyways, I digress. I'm like, I gave my info, I was like, hey man, like, yo, no pressure. I'd love to have you on, man. And it was just like, and he's like, man, and he recognized too. We talked a little bit honestly about the whole, tragedy with brother Floyd, and like how people don't realize, maybe he's like we just came to the discovery, like, man, he's like, people don't realize that the choices that we make dictate our today and our tomorrow. And like, you can make a bad choice and have some bad things happen, or you can make quality good choices and have good quality things happen. It's like, it was just I don't know, I feel like I'm babbling at this point. I'm almost at 10 minutes, but thanks for sticking in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying with us. But it's just, the moral of the story is that you can't look at all of a certain type of people or a certain type of occupation as one way. You have to look at them as individuals and really meet people where they are, love people where they are, because at the end of the day, God loves, died for, and was raised for that individual. Man, I love y'all. Peace.